I don't believe we're alone in the universe. The native cultures and, if they say they've been seeing things for years, such as Bigfoot, UFOs, or whatever. I've never seen a Bigfoot, but I have seen some people call them UFOs. It was like a starship. This thing was huge.
One calm summer night in the small town of Seward, Alaska, Bill Sleaseman, who runs the local docks, saw a huge shining metal object floating above. He wasn't the only one. People all over the Kenai Peninsula saw weird lights in the sky. These sightings are more active in this particular area than in any other place in the world. Were these lights from outer space trying to send a clear message, or was there an easy answer yet to be found? Let us explore these alarming warnings and figure out why these strange objects are suddenly appearing out of nowhere. A strange night in quiet Seward. The sun was setting over Resurrection Bay, making the water shimmer. Bill, who managed the docks at a local fish processing plant, was finishing up his day. The fishing boats rocked gently in the calm harbor of Seward, a small port town on the edge of the Kenai Peninsula. After locking up, Bill headed back to his cozy log cabin nestled in the nearby wilderness. He had moved to Alaska in 1984 to enjoy the abundant fishing and outdoor life, and after over 3 decades, his love for the wild, majestic landscape had not faded. There was also another aspect of Alaska that intrigued Bill, the ongoing talks and stories about odd occurrences and unexplainable sightings. Local legends spoke of Bigfoot, a large, hairy creature resembling an ape that was said to roam the forests. Additionally, there were accounts of strange lights or crafts in the sky, believed by some to come from other planets. Although Bill had never come across Bigfoot himself, he felt sure that Earth wasn't the only place with life in the universe. As darkness took over, Bill relaxed in his cabin with a cold beer. Suddenly, he heard a helicopter. Grabbing his binoculars, he went outside to see what was happening. To his surprise, he saw a black military helicopter hovering quietly over the trees without any usual markings or identification numbers. It just stayed there, still in the air. Bill was amazed and got a cold shiver down his spine. He then looked up and saw a gigantic metallic object blocking out the stars. Initially, he thought it might be some kind of airship or drone, but as he continued to look through his binoculars, mixed feelings of fear and excitement washed over him. This object was enormous, about the size of the largest ships on the ocean, and it floated in a way that didn't seem possible according to the laws of physics he knew. The craft was polished gunmetal gray and had glowing parts or symbols along its smooth surface. It seemed to pulse with a contained energy, which made Bill shiver. He noticed parts of the craft rotating, resembling technology from sci-fi movies. A bright blue-white light shone from the center of the craft's underside, illuminating the landscape below. This light revealed a pattern of diamond-shaped panels that slowly spun in perfect alignment. Bill stood frozen, his mouth open in awe as he struggled to understand the incredible sight before him. He felt a strange vibration through his body, similar to standing near electric power lines. Feeling overwhelmed, he rushed back to his cabin and called his neighbors, urging them to look towards the ridge and confirm if they also saw what he was seeing. After a moment of silence, his neighbors also confirmed the shocking sight. Bill thanked them, hung up the phone, and went back outside. He sat in his old deck chair, unable to take his eyes off the mesmerizing scene above. He wondered if it could be a confidential military aircraft. There had been previous sightings of unusual aircraft near secretive military bases, but nothing compared to this massive craft that floated above him, or maybe it was exactly as it seemed, a real spacecraft from another world. The idea was difficult to grasp, yet there it was, right before his eyes. The technology on the craft was unlike anything known in human engineering, and its ability to float was something beyond the capabilities of current construction or aviation technology. Bill pondered over the various possibilities, but the sight was so overwhelming that it seemed beyond any simple explanation. The entire experience was surreal, and as he watched, he felt a mix of disbelief and awe, knowing he was witnessing something truly exceptional. As Bill tried to make sense of his logical thoughts clashing with less rational ones, he felt a gentle yet unfamiliar pressure on his mind. He couldn't quite understand it. It was as if something far smarter than he was watching him. He wondered if this was just how his mind reacted to such an overwhelming and out-of-the-ordinary event affecting his senses. Bill's focus on the hovering craft was so intense that he didn't even realize when he drifted off into a deep, trance-like state, eventually falling asleep. He woke up as dawn broke, with light streaming through the branches of the spruce trees. Stiff and confused from spending the night sleeping in his chair outdoors, he looked up at the sky, searching for any sign of the giant metal object he had seen the night before. But it was nowhere to be found. Bill found it hard to figure out if what he had witnessed was real or just a dream. Bill found it hard to figure out if what he had witnessed was real or just a dream. However, two things were immediately obvious to him. He couldn't remember parts of the night, which felt like a blank space in his memory, and he felt incredibly alone, having seen something so incredible with no one else around. As the day unfolded, he continued his work managing the boats that ventured into Resurrection Bay. His body was going through the motions of his daily routine, but his mind was elsewhere, clouded with the foggy memory of what he had seen the night before. The thought that perhaps everything he saw was just a product of his imagination troubled him deeply. Bill was a practical man, known for his down-to-earth nature, and he was not accustomed to letting his imagination get the better of him. The clarity and physical reality of what he had witnessed were too vivid to write off as just his mind playing tricks. The day's routine seemed normal, but Bill couldn't shake the feeling that something extraordinary was still out there, waiting to be discovered, sharing the sky with powerful neighbors. While working aboard one of the fishing boats, rigging gear for the day's catch, his friend Hank, the boat's captain, noticed Bill seemed distracted and not himself. Hank, with a tone of concern masked by humor, commented that Bill looked like he hadn't slept at all and maybe had eaten something off. Bill managed a small smile and shrugged off Hank's concerns. Despite their long-standing friendship and Hank's trustworthy nature, Bill hesitated to share his encounter from the previous night. Sharing such an unusual experience, especially one as dramatic as a giant floating metallic craft over Seward, could easily make him the subject of jokes or skepticism. In Alaska, claiming to have seen something so fantastical could make people view you as odd or not to be taken seriously. Bill decided it was safer to keep his experience to himself. That evening, after returning home, Bill turned on his radio to a local AM station, mainly to fill the silence of his cabin with some background noise. However, his weariness quickly turned to alertness when he heard the radio host, Bob Bird, discuss a wave of calls about strange lights and a potential UFO sighting over Cook Inlet and the Kenai Peninsula from the night before. Listening closely, Bill's heart raced as he tuned in to the callers on the radio, many of whom described scenes similar to what he had witnessed. Some spoke of lights that moved in unusual ways across the sky. Others described a large object hovering over the trees near Nikiski. One caller mentioned a reflection of the lights on the ocean's surface, unlike any aircraft they had ever seen. A cold chill ran through Bill as he realized he might not have been the only one to witness the phenomenon. Perhaps there were many others in nearby areas who had also seen the giant metal craft and had been equally amazed and speechless. More and more callers filled the radio waves that night, each sharing their own disjointed visions of bizarre craft and brilliant lights dancing over the waters of Cook Inlet. Their stories varied greatly. Some had seen only small points of light, while others reported seeing large, glowing shapes like pyramids or discs. Despite their different experiences, most of the callers shared a tone of bewilderment mixed with a hint of excitement. They were all trying to make sense of what they had seen, struggling to understand the unusual sights that had appeared in the Alaskan sky. Bill sat, listening to each caller, feeling a growing sense of connection with these strangers who had shared his experience from their own perspectives. He began to feel less alone, realizing that what he had seen was part of a larger event that many others had witnessed, each in their own unique way. This realization brought him a mixture of relief and curiosity as he pondered the nature of the strange event that had brought so many people together in wonder and speculation. One night, a man named Bruce from Kenai called into a radio show to share something strange he had seen. While out walking his dog around midnight, Bruce noticed unusual beams and reflections cutting through the trees across the inlet. These weren't just any lights. They were like searchlights or lasers, switching colors from blue to red to green and back again at a rapid pace. They moved much faster and more erratically than any normal plane or helicopter. Bruce couldn't figure out what was causing these lights or even see what they were coming from, but he was certain that they were not something he had ever seen before. Bill, listening at home, felt a wave of relief and validation as he heard Bruce's story. His own experience had been very direct and clear, but now he knew he wasn't the only one who had seen something incredibly unusual in Alaska's skies that night. In the following days and weeks, tales about the lights seen over Cook Inlet were a hot topic around Seward. In workplaces, bars, and community centers, people who had seen the phenomenon shared their stories. Each person seemed to add a bit more flair to their tale, making the lights seem even more dramatic and the theories about them more outlandish. Some folks suggested that the lights were from aliens visiting our planet. Others thought maybe there was a tear in space and time, and some even guessed it might be a confidential military experiment taking place in the remote parts of Alaska. On the other hand, the more skeptical locals dismissed these stories as just tall tales influenced by too much imagination, alcohol, or simply boredom from the long, dark nights in the north. However, Bill felt certain about what he had seen. To him, it was clear evidence of something completely unusual, something not from this world, something beyond normal human understanding. He did not have the faintest idea what kind of non-human intelligence or advanced technology he had encountered, but the image of that enormous craft suspended in the twilight sky over Resurrection Bay was something he would never be able to forget. Ever since that night, Bill has been more attentive than ever when he's outside after dark. He looks at every speck of light and every movement in the sky with hope. He wants to feel that deep sense of awe and discovery once again. Even though there have been more reports of unexplained lights or odd crafts seen in Alaska, Bill hasn't given them much thought in recent years. He believes those are just small glimpses of the bigger discoveries that are still out there, waiting to be fully understood. Under the starry sky, the sense of something unseen grew stronger, pushing Bill to seek out the hidden mysteries of the night. Haunted speech from the lights above Alaska. Life in Alaska went on as usual after Bill's encounter. People worked, the seasons changed, fish were caught, celebrations occurred, and life cycles continued. But for Bill, that crystal-clear summer night over 2 decades ago had changed his view of the universe completely. Now, on the clearest nights, when the sky is filled with twinkling lights, Bill feels a connection to that night. He swears he can almost touch that extraordinary feeling once more, that sense of being part of something much bigger. Human beings have always been fascinated by the stars and the night sky. From the earliest times, we've wondered whether we are alone in the universe or if there are other civilizations out there, perhaps watching the same stars we do. The concept of alien life has intrigued us for ages, leading us to seek signs of other beings beyond our world. Throughout history, many cultures around the world have portrayed what seem to be alien encounters in their art, myths, and legends. Take, for example, the artwork of ancient civilizations like the Egyptians, Sumerians, Mayans, and Hindus. Their art features figures and objects that look like they don't belong in our world. Consider the 15th century painting Madonna with St. Giovannino, where a curious disc-shaped object floats in the sky behind the Virgin Mary, observed by a man and his dogs. This image raises the question, could this be one of the first artistic depictions of a UFO? Then there are the ancient architectural wonders. How did ancient people build such complex structures like the Egyptian pyramids, Stonehenge, or the giant Moai statues of Easter Island with the simple tools they had? Some people believe these incredible feats were possible only with help from technologically advanced alien visitors. And it's not just ancient times that have us scratching our heads. Archaeologists have unearthed artifacts that seem too sophisticated for their time. For instance, in 1991, tiny coil-shaped objects were discovered deep underground in Russia. Tests showed these objects were between 20,000 and 300,000 years old, yet they appeared to be made with technology resembling modern nanotechnology. Discoveries like these keep us wondering and searching for answers about our past and the possible connections we might have with beings from other worlds. Could all these clues be pointing us towards a history that includes interactions with alien civilizations? The thought is as thrilling as it is baffling, adding another layer of wonder to our already strange universe. When we hear about UFO sightings, they often come from very trustworthy sources. Think military pilots, astronauts, and air traffic controllers, people whose jobs depend on their reliability and accuracy. They have a lot to lose if they're caught making things up. Take the 1960s, for example. During this decade, 2 different groups of astronauts reported seeing unusual spacecraft during their missions. Neil Armstrong and Buzz Aldrin, who were among the first to walk on the moon, reported seeing strange spacecraft around the craters on the dark side of the moon. Another astronaut, James McDivitt, reported seeing an object with incredibly bright lights following his spacecraft on a separate mission. These weren't just stories from anyone. They were accounts from highly trained space professionals. Pilots have reported countless unexplained UFO sightings over the years. One famous incident happened in 1986 over Alaska, where 2 separate air crews encountered a bizarre craft that seemed to defy the laws of physics. Then in 2004, fighter jet pilots from the USS Nimitz encountered a white, oblong object performing incredible maneuvers, unlike anything possible with current aircraft technology. These pilots are trained to recognize all types of aircraft, so when they report something unexplainable, it's taken very seriously. It's not just professionals who have captured strange phenomena. Ordinary people have also recorded very odd events using video cameras and smartphones. On YouTube, you can find countless videos showing bright lights moving in strange patterns or dark objects floating silently without any wings. While some of these could be dismissed as fakes or errors, there are recordings that are tough to explain away. For instance, in 1994, pilots from the Mexican Air Force captured video of 11 bright orbs that moved in a way no known aircraft could replicate. This incident is just one of many that continue to confuse people all over the world. Despite all these accounts, the scientific community has often been slow to take claims of alien visitations seriously. Most scientists have dismissed these accounts as mere stories, hoaxes, or misidentified natural occurrences. However, as more and more unexplained sightings are reported by credible sources, a growing number of researchers believe these deserve a more detailed investigation with an open mind. Perhaps advances in technology will one day help us confirm whether we have been visited by beings from other planets. With so much evidence piling up from both ancient times and modern days, it's becoming harder for governments and authorities to ignore or deny these unusual sightings. In fact, polls suggest that most Americans believe their government is keeping information about aliens. It seems that finding the truth requires persistence and curiosity. The idea of meeting beings from other planets might be intimidating, but it also offers a great opportunity for us to learn and grow. The universe is still a vast place with many unknowns, and making contact with extraterrestrial life could fundamentally change our understanding of the universe and our place within it. The potential impact of such a discovery is huge and could lead to many new insights. Hidden truths began to surface, pulling Bill deeper into the unknown world of government lies and celestial wonders. Pilot's top confidential encounters. For a long time, the US government was very secretive about UFOs and potential alien encounters. People who reported seeing something unusual often met with disbelief and secrecy. However, in 2023, there was a shift. Congress decided to open up and hold public hearings on the matter of unidentified flying objects and other unexplained aerial phenomena. This was not just some small-time event, it was an official proceeding with members of the House of Representatives looking to uncover the truth. The people who testified at these hearings were not amateurs or conspiracy theorists. They were highly respected, highly qualified professionals. One of the first to speak was Lieutenant Ryan Graves, a former Navy fighter pilot and now an aerospace executive. He spoke on behalf of over 30 other military personnel and commercial pilots who had all seen unexplainable flying objects, now commonly referred to as UAPs. Graves made it clear that these sightings are not rare, but are a common occurrence during flights and training missions. Despite the frequency of these sightings, the government often downplays them or tells those who see them to keep quiet. Imagine encountering what appears to be an alien spacecraft and then being told to act as if nothing out of the ordinary happened. Graves had quite a surprising experience to share about a strange flying object he saw in 2014 while flying his jet off the coast of Virginia. He noticed something odd on his radar. It looked like a cube inside a clear ball. When he flew closer, he realized it was huge, as big as an airplane, and it suddenly zoomed off at an incredible speed, much faster than his jet could go. This left him absolutely stunned because nothing he knew could move that fast. David Grush, who used to work in intelligence with a special team that looked into unidentified flying objects, came out with some shocking news. He said that the US has been secretly handling these UFO matters without telling the public and using money from taxes to do it. What's more, he spilled that the government has been trying to figure out the technology from crashed UFOs, including working on alien remains they found. Grush admitted he hadn't seen the evidence himself, but had heard from people he trusted that there were projects focused on understanding alien crafts and bodies. Then there was retired Navy Commander David Fravor, who talked about a wild encounter he had back in 2004 with a UFO they called the Tic Tac because of its shape. He and his team were training over the ocean when they were sent to check out a weird white object floating above the water. This thing looked like a large white pill and started moving in unbelievable ways as soon as they got close. It was making moves that no normal aircraft could, like darting back and forth and up and down so fast that anyone inside it would have been crushed by the force. Then, in a blink, it disappeared from their radar, only to show up again instantly about 60 miles away. This encounter was so bizarre and the movement so out of this world that it seemed to defy everything we understand about physics. Each of these stories adds up to a bigger picture that suggests there are things flying in our skies that we just can't explain with our current understanding of technology. These pilots and officers have seen things that don't match up with normal aircraft or anything else we know. The idea that these could be vehicles from another world isn't just a wild guess anymore. It's something some people in the military are taking very seriously. They're trying to learn from these encounters, hoping to maybe one day understand how these strange vehicles work. This goes to show just how complicated and deep the issue of UFOs and possible alien technology really is. As more military officials and people with insider knowledge come forward with their incredible stories, it's becoming tougher for the government to simply ignore or dismiss these reports. Congress is showing a stronger commitment to digging deeper into these issues, holding more hearings to encourage even more insiders to reveal what they know. It looks like the hidden information is gradually coming to light. For a long time now, various government entities have closely guarded truly mind-boggling information about aliens and UFOs. Thankfully, the bravery of a few individuals willing to share what they know is slowly pulling back the veil on what has been kept out of public view. Take agencies like the CIA and FBI, often just referred to by their initials. Numerous officials have reported that these agencies have documented many encounters with UFOs and other unusual events over the years. However, they have consistently chosen to keep this information under wraps. The reason behind their reluctance to share this information with the public remains unclear. Even top officials in national intelligence roles have admitted that there are a lot of incidents and data that haven't been shared with the public. Former Director of National Intelligence John Ratcliffe has openly criticized the government for keeping people in the dark about these encounters for far too long. NASA might have the closest connection to the topic of aliens, given its extensive involvement in space exploration. This agency has essentially had a front-row seat to the unknown aspects of space over the decades. In one noteworthy report from 2016, NASA's New Horizons probe encountered an unusually large and fast-spinning object near Pluto. This object, named the Orion object, seemed to generate its own gravity and behaved as if it was under intelligent control. Curiously, when the probe tried to get closer to this object, all of its systems suddenly malfunctioned, only to reboot once it moved away. This incident led to many people wondering about the nature of this encounter. With each new revelation, the line between myth and reality blurred further, pushing Bill to face the incredible possibilities that lay ahead. Risky revelations from insiders. This isn't the only strange event linked to NASA. There have been accounts from the 1960s of astronauts observing strange structures on the dark side of the moon, which some believe could be alien constructions. Additionally, NASA has released many photos and videos that appear to show UFOs and other oddities in space. Whenever these images capture public attention, NASA often dismisses them, claiming the anomalies are just optical effects, such as light bouncing off the lens. These repeated dismissals have only fueled more curiosity and skepticism about what might be out there in space. The persistent skepticism and the continuous trickle of new information have led to a growing public demand for transparency. People are increasingly questioning the official explanations and demanding more openness about what is known. This public pressure seems to be gradually eroding the wall of silence that has long surrounded the subject of UFOs and alien life. As more people from within military and space agencies come forward, the hope is that a clearer picture of these unexplained phenomena will finally emerge. Many insiders have made some pretty unsettling claims about NASA and the military. They say that these organizations have been finding and taking crashed or landed spaceships from other planets and even creatures from those ships. Eyewitnesses report seeing these strange crafts being transported under heavy guard, adding to the air of secrecy. They've supposedly been doing this for many years, putting a lot of effort and secrecy into taking apart and understanding the technology from these alien spaceships. Whispers of hidden labs and secretive scientists working tirelessly only add to the intrigue surrounding these claims. During recent discussions about UFOs, one of the people who spoke, who used to work in intelligence, said very clearly that he has gotten information from reliable sources. According to him, there's a specific program where officials are trying to learn how alien devices and creatures work. Other people who know about this have also spoken up, even though it could be very risky for them. The risks they face are serious. There have been scary stories about people who have talked about seeing UFOs or aliens while working for the government or military. They've faced everything from mind games to being completely discredited or even losing their jobs. This happens to people just because they chose to tell others about the unusual and unexplained things they've seen with their own eyes. The secrecy surrounding these recovery operations is deep and wide. Reports suggest that any debris or materials from these extraterrestrial encounters are swiftly taken to hidden locations where specialized teams work meticulously to understand and possibly replicate the advanced technology. The aim seems to be not only to grasp the technological marvels, but also to potentially integrate this newfound knowledge into human applications, be it in defense, technology, or even medical fields. It's not just about recovering materials. The entire process involves a network of operations that spans various agencies and involves significant coordination. Teams of scientists, engineers, and military personnel are rumored to work in the shadows, far from public scrutiny, guided by protocols that prioritize absolute secrecy. This complex web of operations is said to be funded by black budgets, where the allocation of resources is hidden from the public eye and even most of Congress. The implications of such operations are vast. If true, the existence of extraterrestrial technology and biological entities could revolutionize our understanding of the universe and life itself. However, the veil of secrecy and the treatment of those who come forward raise ethical and moral questions. How far should organizations go in pursuit of knowledge? And what rights do individuals have when they are part of or witness such extraordinary events? Despite many obstacles and risks, it's truly remarkable that trustworthy individuals keep stepping up to share what they know. They're risking their jobs and their good names, fully aware that many will dismiss them as crazy. Yet, the compelling stories they tell are hard to dismiss, particularly when experienced military personnel like Ryan Graves and David Fravor share their encounters with extraterrestrial phenomena right in front of Congress. These are serious, well-trained professionals whose credibility is crucial to them. It begs the question, why would they fabricate such outlandish stories? The fact that Congress is taking these issues seriously, organizing hearings to bring more of these testimonies to light, suggests we're at a pivotal moment. We're reaching a point where the sheer volume of evidence and personal accounts is becoming too substantial to overlook. For decades, the topic of UFOs and aliens has been kept under tight control, shrouded in secrecy. But now, it seems the veil is finally lifting, with truths beginning to emerge amidst a fog of misinformation and deliberate silence. Introducing this information into public awareness promises to be revolutionary, reshaping our understanding of our place in the universe. Humans have always wondered whether we're alone in the universe. Now it seems more and more evident that the answer is a definite no, we are not alone. This revelation brings us to the next big question. What comes next? How do we handle the reality of not being the only intelligent life in the universe? How does this change our approach to space exploration, our philosophies, and how we see ourselves in the grand scheme of things? The impact of such revelations will be profound. It could change how we handle international relations, as countries might need to unite under a common cause, should there be a need to interact with extraterrestrial beings. It might influence technological advancements, as the reverse engineering of alien technology could lead to leaps in our own capabilities. Culturally, knowing we're not alone could shift our collective philosophies and ideologies in significant ways. Could the strange aircraft over Seward be part of a top-secret military experiment? Or are we really witnessing visits from another civilization? Share your thoughts in the comments, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more intriguing stories like this one.